Okay, so in the previous sections, we explored the window of tolerance and instinctive defenses separately. And in this section, we're going to bring them together to better understand what trauma is and how it lives in your body. Trauma isn't defined only by what happened, it's shaped by how the nervous system responded and what it had to do to survive. And as you listen, notice how these two pieces connect in your own experience with curiosity and self-compassion. I do want to tell a story about one woman that was gang raped, and she did not have a fight response. So she judged herself because she was like, what's wrong with me? Why didn't I get out of here? Well, it turns out that she was drugged. As we did the trauma processing, she figured that out. And actually, her submit response and her collapse response kept her safe and probably kept her from um, not leaving that space. So when we discussed the trauma responses, my client felt relieved in the fact that she finally understood why she didn't have this fight response. I think most people feel like they should have a fight response when they're being traumatized, and that is just not the case. If you look at that list, most responses out of five categories, there's probably what, 50 or 60 responses, and only like three or four of them are fight responses. So I just want you to keep that in mind that these are automatic responses that your brain and body have been hardwired with, and they are there to keep you safe. Your brain and body know how to keep you safe when nobody else was protecting you, and you just did the best you could. So I want you to remember that. So as we continue to go through talking about the window tolerance and the instinctive defenses, this is what happened to you. It's not who you are. Okay? All right, let's go back to the book and learn a little bit more about trauma. Okay. So, window of tolerance, I'm going to kind of flip back and forth now. So, keep this in mind. Window of tolerance, we want to be here, but when we're triggered, we go up here and come down here. Okay. And then we have our instinctive defenses. We have our fight. Are we going to stay hyper vigilant, or are we going to freeze and come below the window? Okay. I also want to say that trauma is not time stamped. So if I asked you what happened on November 3rd, I don't know, 2017. I hope that wasn't an election year. But anyways, most people probably don't even remember what actually happened on that day unless there was something traumatic. And if there was something traumatic, their heart might start racing, they might start feeling it in their body, then they get out of their window tolerance. So what we do is we go back and we timestamp that through EMDR, brain spotting, internal family system, helping you regulate because your body doesn't know that that happened in the past. It still feels like it's right now. Okay, let's continue. Window of tolerance and instinctive defenses. Hyper arousal involves one or more high energy instinctive defenses turning on at once. So those defenses can turn on all, that doesn't have to be one at a time, it can be succession. The high energy instinctive defenses include fight, flight, freeze, and attachment cry. So that's going to put you above the window. If one or more of these high energy instinctive defenses turn on at the same time, we easily go out of our window of tolerance into hyper arousal. This makes it difficult to think and feel at the same time. Hypo-arousal, our bodies are not built to sustain hyper-arousal for long periods of time. Prolonged hyperarousal interferes with our other bodily functions, such as digestion. If there are very intense threats that is sustained over time or happens repeatedly, the body will force the high energy instinctive defenses to turn off. It will now conserve energy by using a low energy instinctive submit response or let go of all the energy in order to rest and recover. So, an example of that was I had a client who was in an interpersonal violent situation, and they repeatedly pulled a gun on her. And at first it was terrifying, but over time, she became desensitized to it and or learned to be in a submit response because that is what that person wanted to take away her fight response, wanted to take away her autonomy and keep her submissive. So then she just let go of all that energy so she could continue to rest and recover and survive. So the hypoarousal is the body's way of regulating, recovering from, or enduring long periods of hyperarousal, danger, and deprivation. So I think we had a little child that had been severely beaten as a 10-month-old. And the mom, I believe, was prostituting during the day. And so the kids had to be quiet during the day and they could be up at night. Their clocks were flipped. So what did she learn? She learned when she first came into daycare or child foster care at the age of, I think it was 18 months, she would talk like this. She would never talk at the table. She would whisper at everything. And we're like, what's going on with that? And she was absolutely terrified to go to sleep because if she made any noises or upset anybody, she would be beaten when she was a little tiny baby. So over time, the foster mother worked with her to give her emotional safety and helped um, her regulate her emotions by being very consistent with putting her down for nap times and being there when she got up and encouraging her to talk at the dinner table. And when she did talk, she was praised. So we were helping her regulate those emotions. I hope that's helpful examples. Okay, so back to the window of tolerance. Instinctive defenses can send us out of our window of tolerance. So when we're our fight, flight, freeze, or it's not freeze, that's hypo. Pain, terror, agitation, we're above our window of tolerance and we can't think or feel. So one or more of those instinctive defenses are turning on at once. And then we can't stay up here. It is not possible to stay up here. Our nervous system will not allow it. So kids who are like always on, or adults are always on, like waiting for the next shoe to drop, when they get out of that situation, you would think, oh, well, now they'll just be like kind of in the wind of tolerance. No, they have to have recovery time, so they kind of they collapse. So they might shut down and they chronically they sleep a lot. Well, that's healthy because they're trying to recover until it's not healthy. So, but coming down here helps you regulate regulating, enduring, or recovering from prolonged periods of hyperarousal, danger, and deprivation. You become numb, collapsed, shut down. Okay, so I want you to think about the other videos of what are your, what's your history? What are your symptoms? What are your defenses? How are what's taking you up out of the window of tolerance and what's bringing you below the window of tolerance? So when we look at trauma through the lens of the window of tolerance and instinctive defenses, our reactions begin to make sense. And what once felt confusing or shameful can be understood as adaptive responses to threat. And in the next section, we'll explore traumatic memory and flashbacks and why the body can continue to react as if the past is still happening. I'll see you in the next video.